everybody. Welcome back to the Murphy's Law Podcast. My name is Murphy Robinson. I am so proud to have my friend, colleague, and just brother, Jimmy Graham with us here today. Jimmy, thanks for coming.
Thanks, brother. Thanks for having me.
This is exciting.
Happy to be here, man.
I'm happy to have you, man. Jimmy has a unique history in that he has served our country. He is a CEO of an amazing company, but moreover, he has a passion for service and a passion to keep people safe. Jimmy, not only have I worked with Jimmy in a number of different venues, but also Jimmy really trains people well. And not only trains people well, but trains people how to be leaders across the country and really the world. And so, Jimmy, I'm excited to have you. Could you just start by telling us a little bit about you?
The short version. Kind of a mess growing up.
Yeah.
Grew up in the SEAL teams, like in the Navy, right?
Nice.
And needed some direction and some discipline. Found it there. I needed a place to put all that energy, right? So a lot of people just need a place to put that energy. And there was they gave me plenty of opportunities to do that. And from there, I stayed active reserves for several years. Served a total of about 15 years, a little over 15 years in active, then active reserve. And then overlapping with that was a protective officer, or like bodyguard for the CIA, for the GRS.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's a flex. Well, you can just kind of throw that out there. I was kind of a bodyguard for the CIA. Just kind of doing that.
I tell people, and you know this, we've talked on a deeper level about this, is I tell people I've had like two of the sexiest jobs, in the world. For a single guy with no kids, and then you get married and you have kids, and you're like, brother, as cool as this is, this other thing's cooler, man.
That's right.
So you pass the baton, and that stings a little bit, but there's a time. There's a time to turn it over to other guys and say, hey, I get to do some very cool stuff and raise a family, and that together is way cooler.
That's right. I always say, those operator kind of roles are a young man's game.
Yeah, they truly are.
And even when I was in the police department, I would think about, how working nights and, going to those 3 a.m., 7-Eleven moments is trying to do that today, just wouldn't pencil. So
I was telling somebody this because they're like, oh, yeah, you're like Navy SEAL guy. You probably like cold showers and you do like this and that and you're all fit. And I'm like, brother, if I had to like chop a tree down, I would have to call in sick tomorrow, to work because you're like, you just don't use all those. I try to stay fit. I try to do that stuff. And now the cold plunge stuff, I enjoy some of that stuff for the health benefits, but it's just a different game now.
Absolutely.
But it's beautiful. And I'm more of a patriot now than I ever was.
Yeah.
Like when I served, and I'm sure when you served in law enforcement, it was just like now you kind of get it. You're starting to anyways, and you're like, man, thank you for that. Thank you for doing this so I can do this.
What was that thing that kind of flipped the switch for you that made you feel more patriotic, made you feel like, oh, I found my niche in the private sector? Because I imagine that transition sometimes kind of hard.
It's very hard. Obviously you know more about my faith, and that was a big part of it. It's like I came in, and this analogy works with a lot of veterans. When you get out, I was like, oh, you Navy SEAL, get every job you want. It's like going to a hat shop, and I don't know if you mess with custom hats or whatever.
Oh, yes.
You go to just say it's a cowboy hat shop, right? And you're looking like, none of them look right. And then try them, they don't fit. And it's like the hat maker comes out, and they're like, he's here. And they're like, hey, not for you. This one we make together.
Yep.
This is going to be a custom, but it will fit others behind you. Like it's never been done before, right? So I feel like that thing that I was looking for didn't exist, and now it does.
I love it.
Yeah, it was good.
So talk about that thing, able shepherd.
Yeah.
What is an able shepherd?
And
why are they shepherds?
Yeah, the two words that really have just resonated with me throughout the years. Able means capable, and shepherd means teacher and leader and protector. So, when people talk about being a sheepdog, and I'm not really too hard at poking people in the eye about that. One, it's not biblical, and I was really studying at that point at Liberty University and looking, words meant something. I was looking at definitions and all that, but it just didn't quite fit. And then as I started looking more into the word shepherd, what does that mean? To me, it means a teacher and a leader and a protector, right? Teacher, leader, and protector. Teaching what? Right, not wrong. Leading where? Heaven, not hell. Protecting from what? In a word, I would say destruction. And I'd say spiritual, mental, and physical destruction. And that is the order. But people were coming to me for physical protection.
Yeah.
I physically want to protect my kids. And I go, we'll do that, but let's have a discussion. That's not the order. Like you will protect your family spiritually. this day. You will intellectually, mentally, you'll protect them and you'll grow mentally this day. You need to model this for your kids because it's very unlikely. And we've had stories, I know some of your past, brother, that you've had to get physical because the priority jumped.
That's right.
It was never more important than your well-being spiritually and mentally, but the immediacy jumped. And now you have to show up. Like I need to show up to get to them. You got to go through me, right? And that's our job, by the way.
You got to exercise that skill.
So now we just said, you know what? We're going to put it back in order. We're going to leave this industry's model, and we're going to do it the way that I believe you should do it. And it worked, right? So now we're on a trajectory, and I'm excited about it.
Wow. You know, it's interesting. Something you said that really stood out to me was that, you know, people came to you and said, hey, I need to know how to protect my kids.
Yeah.
I feel like we're in a weird spot in society when you got to hire someone to help me figure out how to protect my kids.
Yeah.
Now, granted, this has been human nature since the beginning, right, of war and haves and have-nots and all the things. But I think today we're in a weird part of society where, you know, war and civil unrest and all those things aren't as apparent to Americans as they are to other people in the world.
That's right.
So therefore, we now need to have people like you and I to help protect folks or to help teach people how to be protected.
Yeah.
Talk about that transition. Like, what does that look like to have fathers and, you know, just men and women coming to you saying, hey, I don't feel like I know how to protect my people. Like, that has to be a little bit odd to you at first. And then, like, talk through that.
Well, they believed a lie. They believed that it wasn't their job. Well, the police will do it. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Because, 2021, you call police. They ain't showing up. Not because they don't love you. They're busy.
That's
you know what I
right.
mean? So the truth came out. It's your job to protect your kids, right? And it's like I've heard teachers say it's not my job to protect kids. I said, well, it's actually every adult's job to protect kids.
That's right.
So the big ones must protect the little ones. So there's a question here. What is protection? I would submit it's self-defense and then stand in front of your kids.
Yeah.
So defend yourself and then with your body say this, to get to them, you got to go through me.
That's right.
And it's winner take all. Now, again, back to the priority. Spiritually, to get to them, you must go through. Like, I need to know, I need to answer some questions about me before we even start spiritually. I need to be mentally, mental health. I need to be strong mentally. If you're not strong mentally, if you're a crazy person, you can't raise healthy kids. You just can't do it, right?
Right.
So it's on me to develop what is healthy and where can I go with this and how do I get smarter, even intellectually. Maybe so Jordan Peterson podcast, or I'll study something that has nothing to do with kind of spiritual side of it, but it makes me smarter, which makes me better, which makes me all that. And then physically, yes, we're called to fight. We're not always called to win, but we're called to fight. Like you don't have to necessarily fight, but I do need you to stand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
So at that point, there's honor in standing and fighting and losing.
Yeah.
There's no honor in not standing when it's time to stand. And we just reminded the world that.
That's right.
And they're like, but I don't know how. It's okay. I can help you with that.
That's right.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. It's something that's interesting about that too is, I think as we cultivate our personas as Americans, one thing that we fail to remember is that our kids are watching.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that if we don't cultivate that willingness to fight both intellectually and personally and, spiritually and physically, then we're not cultivating humans that are going to survive.
That's right.
And so that survival mentality, a lot of people are surprised when they hear me say that because I'm very moderate. I try to love on people, but it's also like people know they better not cross me, especially when it comes to my kids.
That's right.
And I say that with prejudice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And that's, Jordan Peterson would use the word, and I love it, formidable. Now, he's from Canada, so he says formidable, right?
Yeah.
Either way, it means the same thing. So if you're formidable, it means, and he said this, I think on Jocko's podcast, and he said, you do need to be formidable because it reminds the world where to step. Like there's rules.
That's
right?
right.
You don't touch my kids, right? So I wrote a book, this called The Return of Man.
Yeah.
America's only hope is in our original hope. And like, oh man, I'm like, no, Jesus, like they made you to be something and you're not being it. And there's repercussions. And then we just did a kid's book, right? That called How Do You Love a Fish? That just hit Amazon, Christian Faith Publishing. It's a big deal that our kids know this. If they don't know, it's because we didn't teach them.
Yeah.
And not tell them, show them, right? So you just said this. I've got to model this. So say people, I don't have kids. Okay. It's your job to protect your community. What does that mean to me? It means my family. It means my small groups. It means my church. It means my business. It means if you're in charge of a business, it's your job to protect them. It is. There's certain, it's like part of that anyways, to the best of your ability. It doesn't mean you're getting out to get to them, you got to go through me, but you should take some steps.
That's
right?
right.
It's responsible, especially in today's day and age. It's like, it says, I love you. I was working with a dental clinic, and it wasn't one, it was several. I was at a seminar, I was the guest speaker, and it was numerous stories about somebody complaining about the bill, but the doctors hid in the back. They knew this guy was getting borderline violent, but he didn't come address it. And he's like, well, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, and then I asked, like, and the guy wasn't there because somebody talking about that. I go, how would it have felt if somebody would have come up right beside you and said, excuse me, this is my staff, and you didn't get to talk to her like that.
That's right.
You know,
This
is my practice. It's like, Cindy, why don't you take a break? I'll handle
Absolutely.
this. Or I step up, and somebody else steps up, and now it's like, to get to her, you got to go through me, brother.
That's right.
You don't talk like that.
That's right.
You can talk like that outside. I pay the rent here.
That's
I'm
right.
asking you to leave right now. You're being trespassed. And I can, here's the truth. You can do whatever you want, but so can I. And I'm about to call the police, and they're going to take you out of here.
You know, it's funny. A mentor of mine, when we talked about management, taught me something really early on. I was one of the youngest city managers in the country, and that comes with a lot of things.
Yeah.
Like you're telling a bunch of older people what to do, and it just sometimes doesn't work. And a mentor of mine told me, you know what, Murphy, you are what you tolerate. So if you tolerate foolishness, you will get foolishness.
Yes.
And so what you're saying is we shouldn't be tolerating that. Right. And you can demand the respect in those ways. So
that's, again, you can't fully teach what you don't truly live. So live it.
True.
Live it. Because credibility, I wrote this down. I was trying to do this thing, and do you know who, what's his name? Louis L'Amour. Cowboy books for, like, my dad read all of them. It was back a couple generations ago, whatever. Anyways, as I'm reading these, I wrote this down. Character builds credibility, builds legacy. Like, we don't think like that anymore. Like, what are our kids going to say about us? You know what I mean? Like, what legacy will we leave? Do I leave a legacy of faithfulness? Do I leave a legacy of sports? Do I leave a legacy of whatever? So that thing matters.
Yeah.
What did he live? What did he show me? Right. So in these books, you're going to see them. It's much like Yellowstone, where it's generational. It goes through a family, 19 books, and they show how they even got here from England. But there was so much the way that Murphy lived kind of paved the way. So when they found out it was your kids, they're like, ooh, what you're trying to do is hard, dang near impossible. But listen to this, but you're your father's son, so you'll probably do it. And they were like, okay, well, now I just got challenged, right? That's huge. It's a big, big deal, and we're losing it, but not in my family. As for me and my house.
Let's talk about that. I mean, one of the things that I've been challenging myself with, and as of even this week, was, I said I was gone 3 out of the 5 days this week at nighttime, going to events and hosting clients and doing all those things. And on my way reflecting back home, coming back home from one of those events that really was meaningless, I said, well, I just missed 3 and 4 hours with my children where I could cultivate, all the things I want to cultivate with them. Number 1, get their homework done. Number 2, how do we figure out what's going on in their lives? But number 3, how do we, start praying together and all those kind of things? Instead, I got to just go kiss them goodnight. And one of the things I said in my philosophical mind of driving by myself down I-25 was, if I were to die tomorrow, what would my kids say about me? And in that moment, it was, oh, Dad worked real hard. Yeah. Is that really what I want to be remembered for? So what would your kids say about you today?
This is speculation, but I hope, and to be fair, I was in my 30s when I realized this. My dad loved me, and if he could have done better, he would have. Right? That's just a mature thing, because I know he loved me, so I know that he would have done that, right? So any of that stuff that I'm like, oh, and I didn't even fully appreciate that until I was in charge of a family, right? So I've cut my nephews off and like, my dad this, my that. I'm like, oh, hold up. You know what you're talking about. You never let a family try to appease a wife and keep everything in order and be the leader of a home. So let's pump the brakes on that. I don't care to hear that again. And they do. But I would hope. So this kid's book that I wrote, I put a thing in every single chapter, and it goes like this. It's simple, but it's big. It's I look at them and they repeat. I say, I love you. I love you. I'm proud of you. You're a good girl. I love being your daddy. I thank God for you. I'm always here for you. They repeat, I love you always and forever. And they say, no matter what. And I stress that no matter what. Like, they're going to grow up and they're going to make mistakes.
That's right.
But what I need them to remember is no matter what means no matter what.
That's right.
So they're downtown, they make a bad decision, they're sitting on a curb, and like, you know what? I wonder if no matter what really means no matter what. And then my phone rings, and then I show up,
That's right?
So that whole, I just said this earlier, is the I messed up, my dad's going to kill me, or I messed up, I need to call my dad.
Yeah.
Because he's got more resources. He's been on this planet longer. Him and mom will jump in the car right now. They'll move heaven and earth to come help me.
Yeah.
Because they promise me every single night, right? That's a big deal. Back to Jordan Peterson. I walked across Spain, Camino de Santiago, with my 17 and 15-year-old daughters this year. Beautiful, brother. That's beautiful. Not accidentally, because I was intentional and I put it on the calendar and then defended it. But I got to have a conversation with them that went like this. If you ever... Don't go into pits.
Yeah.
Because if you go into a pit, you lead the whole family there. Because you can't go alone. We must go with you. But if you find yourself in a pit, we're coming with you. Me, your mom, and I will help you get out. We've been in pits. We know how to get out, right? So we'll get you out of that pit. So avoid them. But if you must go, we go in shoulder to shoulder, right?
I love it.
And they got it. So that whole thing about, you can't tell them enough. I remember reading a Dobson book, and he was saying, because I was deploying, with the CIA overseas and all this stuff. My girls were little. And I was like, well, here's my excuse. It's not really quantity, it's quality. So when I'm back, there'll be quality time, not just, evenings and whatever. And he said in this book, make no mistake, it is a high quantity of quality time. That's what you need to do. That's what each one of those kids need, and you're going to regret not doing more of it, right? So in the other book, Return of Man, one of the chapters is called Green Pin Dates. And this really happened. So I'm in Montana. I'm deploying from Montana to wherever, and I'm making up the calendar, right? I'm self-employed. I'm working for the agency. They're hiring me to do this thing, and primarily an instructor, deploying about once a year. I got a red pin that's saying, hey, you're going to go teach people to be protective officers. They're going to go through a course and pass, right? The best of the best. Take a black one. They need you to deploy and do the job for 2 months this year, right? Then I pull out a blue one. You're still in the reserve, so you're going to South America. And then the last one was green, and I said, okay, this will be family time. There wasn't much space left, brother. Yeah. So you can complain about your schedule until you realize you're self-employed and you make your own schedule.
That's right.
You did this. You did this.
Ain't
so the
that
chapter's
truth?
called Green Pin First. So start with the green one.
That's good.
Mark off every single Sunday, and then put a line in the sand, and mark off birthdays, and mark off vacation, and mark off that. Then build a business around that. Right? And watch and see if God didn't bless that. Is it you doing it, or is it him? Because he said he'd cover it.
That's right.
If you do it right.
That's right.
So it's like, okay. And then get stubborn about it and make like declarative statements. I am going to do this, and say it in front of another man so he can check you on it, and then do it.
I love it. Let's talk about how, because as you can imagine, I know you are popular out there, and what you just said brings life to me and a lot of people. A lot of people don't see themselves in it. And they call you, they call me, they call everybody extreme, right? Who try and exude family values, all those kind of things. What do you say to the people who don't see themselves in what you say? They are in a single parent household. They didn't grow up around anyone who cared about them. They grew up with parents who had drugs and all those kind of things. How do you rectify, the values that we're trying to portray across America and the purposeful reality of Americans out there? I
would use a little bit more tact than this, but in tactics, this. We can talk all day, and I would say, show me. Right? I say, show me. What we can, you got what's your plan? Can I suggest something? And you don't tell people like, hey, you need to. I'm not trying to boss everybody. I can't make you do anything. This is how I shepherd. I'm going. You're invited. Like, I'm going to go over here and do this thing. You can come. Like tonight, when I leave here, I go pick up some dudes and go do a thing in Denver.
Nice.
I'll drive. I'm going. My family left town there, for
awesome.
one night.
Yep.
I'm going to go do that. And then tomorrow, me and a bunch of dudes are going to work on a dude's house. Right? He's just medical problems and all this stuff. He's an older gentleman that served forever. Let's go.
Action.
And it's better to do it with friends, so let's just go do it. We'll get some pizzas, we'll hang out, we'll crank the stereo, and we'll fix a patio. Yeah. So that kind of stuff is just, so for somebody who says, well, that's not really me, it's like, another loving question would be, why not? Why not? Well, I can't afford to go to Spain. Hey, brother, we live in Colorado, bro. Act like it. There's trails right there.
Yeah.
And they're free.
Yeah.
Like I get together with guys, and I don't even know why. I just said, you know what? I'm going to do this urban hike. We're going to start at midnight. We're going to start in Inglewood, and we're going to end in Parker. And in the middle, we're going to hunker down in the bushes and take a nap. Why? Because why not, right? You're kind of like shaking out gear, and just, what do you do all night? You talk to people that care about you.
Yeah.
And some people are hanging by a thread, and they might need it. So they go, you know how much it costs us? Nothing. We end at breakfast down in Parker, right? We do it every year. Why not go?
That's neat.
So you can make excuses all day long. I just prefer not to. I'd say, okay, well, let's do something small. Again, Peterson talks about make a goal so small that you'll do it. And now you got a victory. Well, victories have momentum, and then do something a little bit bigger, and then do something bigger. And this is what I can't stand from veterans. Man, well, that's easy for you to say. There's nobody out here leading. I go, if you can't find the leader, it's you, brother. Like, just take a step and invite somebody and say, I'm going to go do something because I'm trying to move the needle. right? I just prayed about it. I'm supposed to do this, and I'm going, will you go with me? Well, now there's 2 dudes. There's a leader and a first follower. That's all it takes to start a movement.
Yeah.
Right? But somebody's got to step.
That's right.
Now, if you step out alone and nobody's following you, you're not a leader. You're just a dude out for a walk, right? But if somebody comes, now all of a sudden we're on to something. And I've had breakfast alone by myself because I said, guys, let's meet. Let's do this thing. I show up and they don't come. I needed breakfast anyways. I'm not offended. You guys, whatever. And then they find out, oh, nobody showed up. I thought he. And next time there's 10. Well, now we're moving. Right? But I can't get offended. It's like people got lives.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's translate that back to kind of the extreme of extremes of what our society is going through. And, we see the crime rates across the country. We see, people doing things that are just not copacetic to what we want as our American lives. And I wouldn't just say America, it's happening across the world. In your leadership experience, what is it that we're missing with our leaders? How do we, and I know that's a loaded question, but how do we rectify where we're at and really get back to the basics of leading with purpose?
You'd understand this from law enforcement. We don't need new laws. We need to enforce the old ones, right? So the old way is the best way. I don't think there's anything broken with this divine gift of our government. We're just not doing it, right? So I think when people, this is near and dear to the conversations I've had today. When people go to do something and they're a good person and they step into, let's say, government, the first thing they ask when they get there, so how do you do things? It's a wrong question, because if it's broken, why would you care? Just do what you were called to do. We were elected to do, and I said it this way, kind of tongue in cheek. We should just get moral and just again, because that's what the government was made for. Only moral and just people. It doesn't work any other way, right? And then from us, select the best of us. Yeah. Just not the richest, not the slickest, the best of us. And maybe send them forward to represent us. Maybe even call them representatives, right? And then when they get there, they do the thing that made them our pick, right? That actually holds. But now you start wheeling and dealing, and they say, well, I was just trying to do what's right. And I say, what was righteous? They go, well, that's not what I meant. Well, that's what the word means. So what did you mean? Oh, because righteous means right by God. Is that what you're going to do? Because that's why I elected you, right? Well, I did a pretty good job. Well, good equals godly. So that's, you mean godly? I didn't mean that. Well, I did. What'd you mean? Oh, you don't know? Then let's go with my definition. That's the root of all of it. You started believing lies and you started repeating lies and you became part of the problem. Yeah. Not part of the solution. Everybody knows what to do, but they don't have the courage to do it. So when I say, when people are going crazy, I tell my kids this, I tell everybody who will listen, the world's going crazy, don't go with them. Yeah. Right. And then it takes a minute. You have to wait. And then all of a sudden you say, man, I need a man of integrity. And then you say, okay, Murphy, well, you didn't earn that last week. It was over years. That's right. That legacy. And now I call you and we go do something awesome. Right? That's the deal.
But here's what I would say the flaw is in that statement and in that cause is the Murphy Robinsons of the world or the Jimmy Grahams of the world or they're just the people who you want to probably serve, which people ask me probably daily. Yeah. When am I going to step up and serve? Yeah. When you think about the cost of service today, it outweighs the benefits of service in a lot of ways to a person. Now, it might benefit the entire populace in a way that's unknown. Yeah. But, the cost to my family, the fact that they don't pay anything these days, and the fact that they just sow in a lot of foolishness in our governments, in the service aspect of it today, why would someone want to serve?
Self-sacrifice. Right, it truly is. We've gotten to a point, and it's gotten so far down the road. You're literally buying seats. You know the deal. You can lose an election because somebody outspent you. Say that again slowly. You can lose because somebody outspent you, which means you bought the seat. That's right. So this is a silly game we're playing. By service, I don't mean government. By service, I mean, and that's what I tell people. They're like, I'm not doing ministry anymore because it failed me. I go, what does that mean? Well, Wednesdays and Sundays. Oh, you mean somebody else's definition of ministry failed you? Because everything I do is ministry, by the way. The thing I do with ARs, that's ministry. The thing I do with motorcycles, that's ministry. When I talk to kids, that's ministry. Us talking and putting it out, this is ministry, that's right? So that's service. So that on for this Veterans Day that I'm
congratulations
and
happy. Thank you for your service.
Yeah, and I'm honored. It's to call out veterans and say, you already know this whole commitment thing. Signing a blank check and saying I'm in. You know it, but do you want to do it for an imperfect government or do you want to do it for a perfect eternity? Your choice, brother. Your choice. But it's time to pick a side. Like they're like, hey man, where do I go when I die, brother? You ain't gonna die. Everybody's gonna live forever. One place or the other. Pick a side. So I think at the root of it is We know what's right and wrong, but somebody's got to do it. So let's talk about legacy. Let's talk about Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
When he died, the world felt it. It's a good legacy, man. The globe, like the earth felt it.
Yeah.
People said, "What's going on? I didn't even know the guy. What's
Isn't that
going on
something?
in my heart?" And I tell him this: when the Holy Spirit left his body, the Holy Spirit in me felt it. It means it, right? I want to be a better man, but every generation of my family wants to be a better man, a better man or woman. And I was like, what just happened here?
Yeah.
And I didn't realize there's not another person on the planet because he just wanted to be a good man. He just wanted to help people. He just wanted to do that. And it's so rare that it punched the globe. It's a good legacy.
And it is. And it's interesting because I followed Charlie Kirk somewhat. Sure. I didn't know him. I didn't see.
Same.
But the fact that he caused a shift in the environment in that way. I mean, people that didn't know him were researching him.
Yeah.
People traveled all over the world to go to his funeral. I mean, I was helping coordinate security from over here.
Yeah.
And just in the manner of like, hey, with this many people, with this many things, what do we think about? That's a big deal.
I think it's wise to ask why. Why? What's the big deal? The world's saying this, even within my home. What's the big deal? Like, it is a big deal. It's the biggest deal. Why?
Yeah.
Right? So how many people, and you know this, how many people actually care about people? Because it was a surprise to me when somebody said, well, what got you even this? Like, it was a weird moment, and I don't know the day, but at some point I realized that I actually care about people. Like if I passed and your truck is, you went off the highway, I'm probably going to pull you out. Hey, what's going on, right? Because I've been stuck in the snow and somebody's helped me out, right? And that's the thing. Are you the guy that passes by? If somebody's in a subway stabbing a young lady, are you going to stand there? Are you going to leave? You're like, what? It's like, what's in it for me? More than you think. It's like, what are you willing to sacrifice for people? Like if you believe that people are made in the image of God and they shouldn't be shot full of holes, then maybe you don't shoot them full of holes. But it's something broke foundationally. It's like, do you even care? And I think honestly, people are like, no, I just got my stuff going on. It's like, yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Maybe we should do less stuff. Maybe we should think about that.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's interesting. I will tell you, I think that we need to have more Charlie Kirks. And it's not the fact that I'm saying that Charlie did anything right or wrong. I'm not saying that his politics were good or bad, but I think more people that affect the nation or that affect the status quo in the way that he did, and I think is important. I would put Michelle Obama and Barack Obama in that same playing field. The reason I put them in that same playing field is when they speak, people pay attention. Right. I want more of that profoundness to come out, and so I honor that. I think that is really good. I think the last thing I want to ask you, because I know we're coming to time, is give me one antidote in your career or in your entrepreneurship that you can remember that was a hard and chaotic situation that you used a certain skill set and or just ability to overcome.
Wow. What popped into my head, because there's so many, what popped into my head was I just heard a message on perseverance, right? And it was a scripture thing, and he was talking about perseverance. He was quoting a businessman, and he said, more so than money, more so than skill, more so than this, but perseverance. The person just didn't know how to give up, right? So obviously, Buds is one of the biggest schools where it's a 6 months of just getting tortured and all this stuff. And then you just start getting pushed to the limit. So I do this thing with my hands, and it's probably not going to go well, but it was like there's a 1 to 10 scale, 1 being sitting here and 10 the hardest thing you ever did, right? Well, Buds and that whole experience taught me that there's a whole other 10. Let's call that 10 to 20, right? And you're like, and I would call this ordinary. I would call that extraordinary. And recently, I've learned this new 10 on the other side. You mean weakness? No, I mean real strength. That's exceptional, right? So what's over there? Love, joy, peace, patience. All these guys, rah, rah, rah. And it's like, hey, you're so gung-ho. You're so entrepreneur. You're so advanced. I can't even call you for these other things. So the more that we, and it did teach me that there's so much more out there on both ends. I know guys that are the top performers in the world as far as that, the athletes, like SEALs that are just athletes. I know jiu-jitsu guys, I know all that stuff, but I wouldn't call them for some of that other stuff. To kind of sum this up, there's a thing called the quiet professional. You've heard this in law enforcement. I've heard it in the SEAL teams. I've heard it in CIA. And I tell vets, you need that's a lie. You need to stop being quiet, and you need to be twice the professional, right? Meaning, I need you more rounded. Nobody needs the door kicker here in this building. You know what I mean? It's like, now maybe someday, but nobody's taking that from you. You still got it. I need you to work on the parts where you're weak. I need you to work on true strength, right? I need you to be that person that I would call and entrust. Hey, Murphy, could you go pick up my daughters? Something's going on, and I need somebody I trust with my daughters.
That's right.
And if you don't have daughters, you don't know what I just said, right? So that's a big deal. So that perseverance, it's gotten me in trouble. Yeah. And more so than not, it's like the guy just doesn't know how to quit.
I love it.
And then you weather storms.
I love it. Jimmy, thank you for being here.
Cheers,
I appreciate you, man.
This
is fun. A lot of fun. Cool.
Blessings, brother.
All right.